So, will the Chiefs and Trey Smith come to some sort of an agreement on a long term deal before Tuesday afternoon? The deadline for teams to sign a player under the franchise tag to a long term deal is Tuesday, July the 15th at 3 p.m. Central Time. And at the time I'm posting this, there's just a little over 48 hours left until the deadline. There's only one player this year under the franchise tag. That's Trey Smith. T. Higgins was the only other player to receive the franchise tag, but he signed a long-term deal with the Bengals. So the only player that's in the situation right now where they've got 48 hours left to sign a long-term deal or just continue with the franchise tag is Trey Smith. Trey Smith signed his franchise tag earlier in the offseason, so he's expected to be at camp regardless of what happens within the next 48 hours. But if you're the Chiefs, you want this deal done at some point before Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time for many reasons. One big reason is the market for offensive guards skyrocketed last offseason, and the Chiefs locked up their center, Creed Humphrey, to a 4-year, $72 million deal right before the 2024 season got underway. That made Creed Humphrey, by the way, the highest paid center in NFL history. Under the franchise tag for Trey Smith right now, he is set to make nearly $23.5 million. That's going to be the most by any offensive guard in the NFL. Second on that list is Landon Dickerson, but he's behind Trey Smith by almost $2.5 million. So there's a pretty big gap between 1 and 2 right now. Some things to keep in mind about Trey Smith. He's 26 years old. Another thing to be aware of is this guy was a 6th-round draft pick in 2021. So in the 4 years that Trey Smith has played for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's made just over $6.5 million. That's not a lot for a guy that's honestly been at the top of his game among all guards, left and right guards. He's a right guard, but in my opinion, the best right guard in the NFL today. Easily top 5, maybe even top 3. His former teammate Joe Thuney, arguably on that list as well. If he was to play under that franchise tag this year of almost $23.5 million, it'll be 3.5 times more than what he's made in his whole career, just this year alone. Now, I mentioned Joe Thuney, who was Kansas City's left guard for the past 4 years. He's 32 years old, will turn 33 later in the season, I believe in November. The problem with Kansas City is, and this is a good problem to have, the Chiefs keep drafting very well. They find quality free agents, and because they all play so damn well, they can't keep everyone. Everyone wants to get paid in the NFL, and understandably so. You can't ever knock a player for wanting to get his bag. And we've learned that the past few years in Kansas City. They've had to let certain guys walk, like Tyrann Mathieu, Justin Reed, and they had to trade guys away. Tyreek Hill, L'Jarius Sneed, and most recently, Joe Thuney. The Chiefs chose to trade Thuney because of his age, as great as he is, and maybe the best interior offensive lineman in the NFL today, and obviously did a lot for the Chiefs when shifting over to tackle. I know it didn't work out in the Super Bowl and in the postseason overall, but he was arguably Kansas City's best left tackle last year, and he's a natural left guard, not a left tackle. But the Chiefs traded Thuney because of his age and because they wanted to focus more on Trey Smith, who is 6 years younger than Thuney and still has a lot to give in his NFL career. The Chiefs need to secure Trey Smith to a long-term deal before Tuesday afternoon's deadline. Because, to go back to what I said a moment ago, the Chiefs, they've had a lot of great players, and they have not been able to keep all of them. Next offseason is going to be a very tough one for Kansas City once again, because you have to worry about keeping Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis. Yes, they are going to play under the 5th-year option, but I would imagine they would both want long-term deals as well going into 2026. You also have to wonder if Travis Kelce wants to continue playing. Hollywood Brown is on a 1-year deal. Kareem Hunt's also on a 1-year deal. Got a couple of other players to worry about as well. No need to focus on that too much right now, but this is what general managers, especially like Brett Veach, have to be aware of, is the fact that there are so many great players on this team. This past year, not the easiest offseason for Kansas City in terms of trying to keep everybody, but they've been able to do... They've been able to make it find a way to make it work. Let's just put it that way. What will Trey Smith do? I truly do not know. I don't have a prediction that I'm pretty confident in. Your guess is as good as mine. Again, like I said, this guy made north of just $6.5 million in the last 4 years. He's about to make more than $23 million alone this year. That's a massive jump. $6.5 million in 4 years. and you're about to make $23.5 million this year alone. You can secure the bag right now if you're Trey Smith and get that 3, 4, 5 year contract, making your life a lot better. And you'll make close to what, $23, $24 million protecting Patrick Mahomes for the next few years. Or Trey Smith can roll the dice here. And why do I say roll the dice? Well, what if he suffers an injury this year? He's still going to get a big contract. It's just not going to be 23, 24, 25 million a year. And it would probably depend on the injury as well. But he's not going to get that big, hefty deal that he's probably wanting. Now, hopefully he stays healthy. You never want to see anyone get hurt. But let's say Trey Smith has another great year, able to play the full 16 or 17 games, depending if the Chiefs need their starters at the end of the season. And he has another good postseason like he's always had with the Chiefs. Well, then what? Trey Smith's going to raise his asking price because the guard market, I mean, you could say this about every position group, but the guard market will continue to go up. And Trey Smith's probably going to be in a prime position, him and his agent, to demand $25 million next year. And I know a lot of people will say, well, that's just a couple million more. When you're Kansas City right now, and when you look at the 2026 salary cap for the Chiefs, they're already in the hole. And you want to lock this up and have one less elite player to worry about for next offseason. Because Kansas City's got some other things to work on with Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, the way their deals look right now with the cap number, not really the friendliest for 2026. God forbid he gets hurt. Like I said, he'll still get a good deal. But if he finds a way to stay healthy, he's going to get, give or take, probably $25 million a year if he decides to roll the dice and sign a deal next offseason. The ball is in Trey Smith's court. The ball is in his court. I would not be surprised if Brett Veach is working aggressively from now until Tuesday, 3 p.m. to lock this up because it would benefit the Chiefs to get it done now than later. That way they only have one less contractual concern for next offseason. This is up to Trey Smith what he wants to do.